And again, it just takes away from all the movies. That whole opening bit there, that entire explanation destroys a lot. G'day guys, and welcome back to Raging Rhino. Alright, we've just had the release of Loki. Now, I've been quite excited about Loki. I've been wanting to see what happens with Loki's arc after Endgame. And this has been one of the ones that they announced that I was quite interested in seeing. Now, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. I've seen a lot more people disliking it than liking it. I'm willing to give it a shot because I've heard a lot of talk about the timekeepers and all of that sort of thing. And I know that the timekeepers are an actual thing. So we'll have a look into that as well. But the one thing that I'm being very weary about, I watched WandaVision. I was very disheartened, and we've got proof and an obvious admission that they changed the story, not only of WandaVision, but for Doctor Strange, just so that they didn't bring in the white straight male to, mansplain to Wanda. Which, it's just the story. It's the way that the story was originally written. It was the way that they should have portrayed this story on screen. It's fucking ridiculous. And of course, then we had Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I watched the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I thought, nah, this just seems like, Black Oppression Olympics shown through Falcon and Winter Soldier. And it turns out that that's really all it was at the end of the day. This is the other thing. Disney have so much importance on the identity politics that it takes away from their story. And again, we've had Kevin Feige admit that they couldn't bring Doctor Strange into WandaVision like it was planned and like it should have happened because he was a white straight male. That is the reason why. Because you couldn't have the white straight male mansplaining to the female or showing the female how to use her powers. It doesn't make any sense. Who cares who it is? The powerful ones teaching the not so powerful ones, or the powerful ones that can't control their power. There's so much that they're just fucking up because the identity politics is so important. And watching all the things that I love get destroyed, well, there's only so much of that I can take. I mean, I'm watching The Bad Batch at the moment, and fuck, man, that is bad. So bad. Star Wars is fucked. And Disney have complete control over Marvel. Well, not complete control, but they've got control over the X-Men. They've got control over the Fantastic Four. And of course, they're cucking out the MCU, or the MCU, as we're now going to be calling it. So, I'm going to do this review just like I did the last Bad Batch review. We're going to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. We're going to watch it. I'm going to cut out all the bits where I react to certain things. We'll see what we react to. And of course, I'll give my thoughts at the end. So, without further ado, let's get into it, guys. Why did he come out of the sky? Didn't he teleport it? Doesn't he have control? No? Okay.
It's the Tesseract. Be very careful with it.
Sounds dumb.
Know this. You cross me, there are deadly consequences.
Sounds dumb, he says. I'm sorry, I just got to pause there for a sec. Like, the comedy in this just so far is stupid. Absolutely stupid. And really, Loki just gets hit with a time thing and, he's still able to use his powers, isn't he? Anyway. And also, too, are you telling me that this guy that works at this place, that knows all of time, has no idea what the Tesseract is? Okay. That's bold. Okay. So, basically the timekeepers have created a timeline that they are in control of. As soon as something shoots off from what they want to be created, they then go back, melt the variant, and reset the timeline. Now that starts creating a lot of problems for me in this opening scene. Let me give you an example. The rat in Endgame doesn't end up stepping on the machine that brings Ant-Man back. The timekeepers go and get the rat, kill the rat, or melt the rat, and reset the timeline. And then do it again, and 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 do it again, until it happens the way that they want it to happen. Now that's something simple, but that takes away the entirety of the free will of these people from the movies and everything. I mean, if the timekeepers were to show up, they should have shown up in Endgame, right? Because you've got the Avengers basically meddling in the timeline. So why wouldn't they go and pick those guys up? Because they're all variants, right? Melt them and reset the timeline. Unless it's what they wanted to have happen, but then they're creating I'm already confused by this. So if Tony didn't decide to save his daughter and said to the Hulk, snap everyone back and get rid of the last 5 years, then the timekeepers would have shown up, melted Tony, and reset the timeline so that Tony can actually say, now make sure that you don't delete the last 5 years. I'm really confused by this, but again, it's just the opening scene. Hopefully there's some more dialogue or something that actually tells us what's going on, but that is real confusing to me. It basically means the last 10 years of movies were the timekeepers. They wanted Thanos to snap his fingers. If Thanos didn't delete half the universe, they would have come and melted him. So let's say Thor did swing for the head and chops his head off, and Thanos doesn't get to snap his fingers. The timekeepers show up, melt Thor, reset the timeline to make sure that he doesn't swing for the head, and Thanos snaps away half the universe. It's quite a bit of power that they've got there. And again, it just takes away from all the movies. That whole opening bit there, that entire explanation destroys a lot. And tell me in the chat if I've got it wrong, but that's how it definitely seems to me. Anyway, we're early on. Let's go.
Oh, really? And who should we have?
I suspect the Avengers. You see, I only came into possession of the Tesseract because they traveled through time. No doubt in a last-ditch effort to stave off my ascent to God King.
That's quite an accusation.
Good point.
But believe me, you can smell me.
No. What they did was supposed to happen. You escaping was not.
Right.
Magic powers. They're no good in the TVA, Mr. Laufeyson. The court finds you guilty, and I sentence you to be reset. Next.
Okay. So he makes a very valid point there about the Avengers being the ones that break the timeline, just like I mentioned just before in my other reaction there. And they basically laugh it off and say that the Avengers were supposed to break the timeline there. That was the proper flow of time. That was what was supposed to happen. And Loki not knowing, again, the comic relief is horrible so far, but Loki not knowing that he can't use his power. I mean, he's already tried to run away 3 times and he's been zapped back. You know, if he hasn't already tried to use his powers, that should be enough for him to know that he can't use them. God, I don't even think I'm halfway through this episode and I feel like I'm already... I don't know.
It's on you.
Okay. I feel like I'm always looking up to you. I like it. It's appropriate.
Oh my God, okay. If that wasn't a little secret messaging there, then I don't know what fucking is. But okay, whatever.
If the TVA truly oversees all of time, how have I never heard of you until now?
Because you never needed to. You've always lived within your set path.
I live within whatever path I choose.
Sure you do. Okay, come have a seat.
See, right there, he even says, like, you've always stayed on the path that was set for you. So if he ever deviated from that path, it's like, send the timekeepers, go melt him, free will's gone. So every event that happened in Endgame and Infinity War and all the movies was all predetermined by the Timekeepers, taking away all free will. How did Doctor Strange see over 14 million different variants, different times, and they only won once? I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's almost like with this one series, with this one episode, with this half an episode, they've destroyed 10 years worth of stuff and basically said, nah, they had no free will. It was all a predetermined timeline. And what happened when they went off and broke the timelines and started creating variants? And then Cap took them back. Like that was the predetermined line that they were supposed to break it off. And everything that the chick tells the Hulk in Endgame about the variants of timelines and removing the Infinity Stones from the timelines, she was completely incorrect in everything that she said. Completely incorrect. Retcons that. I don't know who's writing this show, but if they think that this was a good idea, and again, I know that the Timekeepers are a real thing in the Marvel Universe, but I'm pretty sure that this wasn't how they were used. So if Loki didn't send the army to New York, the Timekeepers would have shown up, melted him, and made sure that, and reset the timeline to make sure that he actually does send the army.
How do you not know what a fish is?
I lived my entire life behind a desk.
But what difference does it make?
I want to know exactly what I'm being threatened with before I comply.
How do you not know what a fish is?
Okay, I comply.
He doesn't know what the Tesseract is, he doesn't know what a fish is.
Comply. Jeez.
Fucking tarded. So hang on a second. Natasha gave up her life for the Soul Stone, which there's a Soul Stone sitting right there. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone, like, there's Infinity Stones just sitting here, and they just come in all the time, and people just use them as paperweights. Wow. Wow.
Oh, you almost hit me. That's so messed up. Do not forgive you.
Well, there go all those Infinity Stones, but they've still got a whole heap more anyway, don't they? They're all being used as paperweights by some of them. Okay, so what did I think about that? It kind of seems fine on the surface, but then when I start to think about certain things that we've seen in the MCU, when you think about it, it's like, okay, so if something was done differently to how we actually saw it, then the TVA show up, melt the person, reset the timeline. So if Captain America saved Bucky when he fell down the cliff when they were hijacking the train in Captain America, well then they would have come in, they would have melted Cap or melted Bucky or something, and then melted Bucky and then reset the timeline to make sure that Bucky did actually fall. And that's where I start to see a bit of an issue with this in regards to what they're doing here. Again, I'm going to have to look into the Timekeepers to see what they actually were and how powerful they actually were. And are they portraying them correctly? Because again, I know the Timekeepers exist. I know the TVA is a thing. So, again, I don't think it was supposed to be done like this though. But I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there'll be people out there that watch this that know more about the lore behind Loki's story and behind the lore of the TVA and the Timekeepers, and you guys can let me know in the comments below. If you guys watched the episode, I'd love to hear what you guys thought about this. Honestly, I just don't know how to feel about this. It's a bit weird. Anyway, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week, I suppose, for episode 2. I'm curious to see who that is at the end. They're obviously chasing a variant of Loki, apparently. But, like, I don't know. I don't really understand how there can be so many variants of Loki. Unless that one shoot-off, that one variant created all these other variants. which is probably what they're going to say has happened. Anyway, let me know. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Later, guys.